It's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me magnet fishing. I don't know if it's normal. Do you know? Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Chris. This is Dirty Trucker 08. Now, I don't know if you've ever been magnet fishing or not. It's a pretty simple concept. You have a rope, which I keep mine on a little spool here because it's easier to, spool it up when you're done. And you've got a magnet with a lock on it. You've got a magnet. Hooks up to the rope. You throw it into the water and then you reel it back in. Hopefully something awesome gets stuck to it, like a knife or a gun or a safe or an ATM machine, and you pull it in and you make all that money for the rewards from turning them in, because we're good people. But yesterday I was out magnet fishing. I had my magnet on there and I'm standing on the bank at this point, which I prefer to be on the bridge. But I was on the bank, and I'm casting out there, and I'm pulling the rope back in, and I throw the magnet again, and I'm pulling it back in, and I throw it, and I start to pull, and it's stuck. I pull as hard as I can. It's just not, it's clearly stuck. Must be on something huge, right? So I walk to the left, and I'm pulling this direction, and I walk back, and I'm pulling this direction. I get back in the middle, I'm pulling as hard as I can, thinking if this thing is stuck on something and not just stuck on something awesome, maybe I can unhook it from the rocks. This isn't working. No matter how hard I pull, which direction I'm pulling from, it's just not coming loose. So here I am, my stuff's stuck out in the water, pulling the rope. No matter what I do, nothing's happening. What do? Both directions didn't work? I've got one other option. Since I'm just on the shoreline and back behind me about 30 feet is the parking lot, I can take the old rope, tie it off to the back of the car. And that's exactly what I did. I tied it off right here. You can even see some of the red fuzzies. I don't know if you can see those or not. There's red fuzzies left from the rope, from where I hooked it up to the car. That car. So I hook it up to the car, I take my rope, and because I'm tied off to that spool on the end, I can't just tie a normal knot in it. So I take the loop and I stick it through and I tie it around itself. One good yank and that should be enough, or so I thought. Put the car in first, start to ease out, and as I'm pulling forward, pop! Thing goes flying backwards. The spool is rolling towards the water. I set the e-brake, I go back there, and it just stopped. Literally just short of the edge. And the edge where I am at this point has approximately a 3 or 4 foot drop off into the water, and I do not want to get off into that because getting out might be a bit of a pain. That's water level. Below that, I'm not super sure. But it didn't go in the water, so we're all good. So I'm like, alright, I'm going to try this again. Back the car up just a little bit, stretch the rope back out, stick it through the eyelet, tie it off 3 times this time. Here we go, we're ready. Rope's still pulling on the water, the magnet's still stuck. I've got it tied to the car. Back in the car, release the e-brake back into first, start to go. Feel a little bit of tension. A little bit more. And then zoom! I pulled right out of frame. But what happened was the magnet finally released. It came loose, pulled it in, everything appeared to be fine. The rope didn't rip, the magnet wasn't broken, the eyelet was still good. Everything was awesome. So I went and I fished on the bridge next to it. Couldn't catch anything there. Went to another bridge, didn't catch anything there, and went to another bridge and didn't find anything there. A few nails, but nothing cool. So I was like, alright, I've been to a bridge with Bobby. You guys remember Bobby. Insert picture of Bobby. He and I magnet fish together from time to time. So we went to a bridge a while back, found some stuff. Well, I went back to this bridge, and I'm sitting there, and I've got my magnet out there, and I'm pulling, and I hit the same thing that we were hitting before. We think it's a grill, but we're not 100% sure. It's down, it's straight into the water, but the water is murky enough, and it's deep enough that we can't see what it is. I'm getting my magnet, it's sticking to it. I'm like, alright, it's still there, clearly. And I pull, and I can feel some movement, and then the magnet slips off. Go it in again, pull, feel some movement, slow tension, and the magnet would slip off again. So I decided to change things up. The first time, whenever Bobby and I went out there and found this thing, I was on my first magnet, which you just saw. That's this guy. Yesterday, I decided to pull out this one. See the size difference? Big magnet, little magnet there. It's not really that much different. That's side by side. They're close. This one's just a little bigger, a little stronger. So I throw the big one in there and it pulls. And it's a little bit harder to pull. Alright, maybe we might actually be getting somewhere with this thing. Feel some movement. And then it slips off. Same exact thing as the first one, over and over again. But today I'm feeling a little bit frisky. Because of me, you know, frisky. So what I did, I put the big hook. The big hook. On the orange rope, dropped it in super slow, because if this thing catches something, it's coming up no matter what you do. So I dropped that thing down slowly next to the other rope that still has a magnet stuck to it, so I know where I'm going. Got it in, give a little bit of a tug. Not even a yank, just a little bit of a tug. And it hooked. Alright, game on. I start pulling this thing and it is heavy. I'm pulling, I get it to where it's just starting. I can kind of look over the edge of the bridge and I can see something starting to show. And I'm struggling a little bit because I'm on this bridge by myself. Cars are driving behind me. It's amazing how awesome it was. And I'm pulling this thing and I'm yanking. I finally get it up to where I can... It's definitely a grill. It's a good sized grill. And I'm pulling, I'm getting this thing up there and I'm struggling. And I kind of wrap it over the edge of the bridge, the rope. I wrap it over the top railing there on the bridge just a little bit because it's concrete railing. And I can kind of relax a little bit because I can keep some tension on it now. So I've got my hand holding that rope down over the railing. That's kind of helping to hold it. And I look over. It's definitely a grill. It's a big grill, like a 2-top opener with a thing on the side grill. It's huge. And I'm looking down on this thing and I'm probably 15, 20 foot off the water. It's down there. It still looks big, so it's got to be a massive grill. I'm like, alright, I can't pull this thing out, but maybe I can get it closer to the shore. So I kind of take this thing back over and I shuffle over a little bit and I stop. Kind of rest a little bit. Hands are starting to cramp, so I wrap it over the top of the bridge again because that's easier to hold. Get a little bit of friction on the top there. Kind of rest a little bit. I'm like, alright, I'm going to do this again. I pick it up, lift, and I start sliding over. And I start sliding over and over and over. And by now I've moved 30 or 40 feet. My arms are exhausted. But I've got this thing clear to the edge. It's in very shallow water just sitting there. And this is exactly what I was looking down on. You can see it now. That is the massive grill that I could not get out of the water. No matter what I did, that's as far as I could get it. But I was able to get my hook off of it. Just a little bit of a drop and a twist and it finally came unhooked. Magnet pulled right off super easy. So everything came back with me minus the grill, which is still on the shoulder of the river. It's next to it's on the edge. The shore. It's not really the shoulder, it's the edge. It's still there. But that's it. That's how my day went. I don't know if you guys care about magnet fishing or not. I think it's kind of fun, and there'll probably be some magnet fishing videos on here once I figure out how to set up a camera and actually make it interesting instead of me just throwing and pulling and throwing and pulling and throwing and pulling and throwing and pulling. But you're probably going to see some of that in the future along with the car stuff. There's some big car news coming. I will let you know about that later. But anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.